everyone, so for today's look we are doing a Trixie Mattel inspired look. Now I will not lie to you, this is not a perfect Trixie Mattel look, it is not a perfect recreation because that woman has so many makeup products that I don't have, but we're going to do our best today. So starting out for this look, we are doing a lot of priming with the e.l.f. Mega Grip Primer. Also, here's my new tattoo. Then we're going in with a foundation. Now, if you want this to be truly a Trixie Mattel foundation look, you need like Krylon TV paint stick. I did 2 layers of Fit Me Matte and Poreless and called it a day. For eyebrows, she normally glues hers down and covers them up. I did not have a glue stick nor the talent to do such a thing, so I just filled in my eyebrows kind of following the shape that she does. And for this, it's camp, it's drag, it's Barbie, it's over arching everything and over highlighting everything and over contouring. So I just really focused on making that square, sharp angle, very Barbie, very doll look. Then, starting on the eyes, which are arguably the most important part of the look, I went in with some white face paint. Yes, white face paint, and started highlighting underneath my brow. Again, you could use a Krylon TV paint stick in white, which honestly, with how thick it is, I don't know that's that different from face paint. I could be totally wrong in that belief, but I started going in with just a liner brush doing this so that I got a really exact line and made sure to bring it all the way to the inner part of my nose. One product for this look, and that was the air spun, because I needed translucent powder in a mass quantity, and I know at one point this was kind of the go-to for most drag performers, so I went in with this little powder puff and just set that entire white line that we just made under both brows so that it would stay nice and bright and I wouldn't get any creasing with it and no transfer with that face paint. So now I'm going in with the same brush, and I went with a teal color. The look that I used as reference was the video that Trixie did with Safira Cristal when they were doing their makeup together. I really liked that color combination, and I wanted something very 60s inspired because when I started watching Trixie, like that was really her whole thing, was like a little bit more 60s and vintage, like very Trixie Motel. So I wanted to use that kind of really mod look that she does sometimes. So I used this teal color from NYX, and I just used the liner brush to draw the shape of the eye. And then I went in with a blender brush and slowly started softening that line up and also building the color with a little bit of powder on it. And again, we're bringing it all the way to the inner corner of our eye and around our nose, and then all the way out towards our temples. Then I went in with my concealer and started carving out the brows on the top. I just used a little concealer brush that I have and started kind of drawing this bird-like shape and blending that out with a sponge, because this is all just building that base, all those crazy contours and highlights that Trixie does so well. So I wanted to really take my time and do each step the way she kind of does it. So then, taking the flat edge of my contour palette, I took the darkest color and started carving out my cheeks and temples. I used the edge of this palette because she actually uses like a business card or a piece of cardboard or like makeup packaging, just depending on what she has on hand. So I used that to get my really straight lines and then blended that out, and then started bringing everything up towards my forehead because obviously Trixie usually wears like a very high quality lace front, so she blends all that contour up into her temples and around her forehead as well. Now my wig has bangs, so I really could have skipped this part, but if I started skipping parts, it wasn't gonna look right before I put the wig on, then I would have tried to fix things, and then it's just all downhill from there. So I just kept blending my contour until it looked just the right amount of overdramatic without being just kind of non-purposeful lines, if that makes sense. So now going into the jaw, I started just bringing everything around my chin and neck and jawbone and bringing it down because Trixie does have a very severe like jaw contour, and she does a lot of highlighting, which you'll see me do here in a bit. But I wanted to make sure I didn't skip that step because often I do skip it because I get like self-conscious that's not going to look right. But for a drag look, we definitely want to go more severe and more sharp. So then I went in with my concealer again on that same brush and started doing the highlighting that she does under her contour and on her jaw. I was literally going back and forth between the video of her and Saphira getting ready and doing my makeup because I wanted this to be as correct as I could possibly try and get. So I just kept highlighting underneath that contour and going just kind of along the very hollow of my cheeks and down towards my jawbone, and then tapping that all in with a blending sponge to get rid of any streaks and blend everything out. Then I added a little bit to my chin as well, just to keep that kind of doll head shape and bring my chin out, make it a little bit pointier, and then I blended all of that out as well. And for under the eyes, this was just my normal kind of concealer, just doing that triangle shape on both sides and then tapping it out with a sponge. I did see in the video that Trixie said she doesn't really use sponges anymore because they soak up too much product, and she was, losing a lot of product on sponges instead of using brushes. So if you're doing this at home, maybe use foundation brushes, but I don't have enough of them to make my contour and my foundation and my eyes and everything look correct. So I went back in with some more bronzer just to make everything a little bit sharper after I did all that highlighting. And then back in with the Airspun, I just started packing everything on those highlighted bits and carving everything out. So this is a lot of like one product, then go back and forth, go to a new spot, go back to that same spot. Then I contoured my nose. Again, you want it to be like really overly dramatic. She gets this very thin, sharp little nose going. So I just dipped into my bronzer that I had and then squeezed the side of the brush so that it made it nice and flat and pointy so that I could really get in there and start contouring. And then I highlighted. I tapped my concealer on, did kind of the little almost exclamation point to make sure that I really got it on there. And then I blended it with my finger just so that I didn't muddy up my contour. Then I went back in with that teal shadow I used before and started drawing the under eye. Like I said, the eye shape is really the most important part of Trixie, so I wanted to make sure that I got it right. She draws her crease and everything in and then goes back in and kind of creates that new under eye. Now with her brows the way that they are, she has a lot more lid space, so you can adjust this to your face like I did here if you don't want to cover your brows. So now it's time for blush. I think Trixie talks about blush more than any person on this planet, and I love that because I am one of those people that I've always used blush. I think there was a small period of time where I stopped using it because no one was using it in tutorials and I was like competing with the girls. But like really, like, you need blush, I think, anyway. And I love it. I think it really pulls a look together. So I added 5 layers of blush. Hopefully it's enough. But of course I went in with a very bright pink, a very Barbie Trixie color. And I just kept tapping it on until I felt like it was super visible. You could see it from the back row. Like, everything was very drag, very camp. So yeah, I think I went in with about 5 layers. And then I went in with my highlight as well, just tapping that on my cheeks and down the parts of my nose and the chin and right on the top of my lip. So then back in with that teal to finish off the new lower eyelid that you're creating, just to darken it up a little bit and make it nice and pigmented. I did go over it probably 2 or 3 times just because this shadow is a bit chalky to work with sometimes. A lot of the single shadows from NYX are, but they're very good for this kind of thing. So I went in a few times with that. And now it's time for the liner. Usually gel liner is your friend here, but I did not have any gel liner, so I just went in with black face paint. And this didn't take as long as you think it would. I just used an angled brush and really tried to mimic that severe, huge black eyeliner that she does that basically takes up most of her face. And I don't know how she does it where she makes it almost like her eyes disappear. I missed something, or maybe it's just because the way that I did my eye shape, like it wasn't as much like lid space. I don't know. But I filled in as much as I could of my eyelid space with this angled brush and the black shadow. And then of course you're definitely going to want to set this. I also had to do quite a bit of cleanup with some micellar water and a Q-tip. So then underneath, I went in and just drew those iconic white triangles that we all know from her look, making sure I got as close to my lower lash line as I could and really created that new like white of the eye doll illusion. And then back in with the black just to outline the edges of those triangles. Now, I didn't add the two little like bottom lash lines that she adds, and I knew I was forgetting something when I did this, so make sure you do that. Then I just sprayed everything down to set it because I did not want it to move after all of this work. Then I added my wig. This wig was straight out of the box like this. It is a Ruby's wig. Literally go on Amazon and type in Trixie Mattel costume. These wigs pop up and they could not be more perfect. So I added some I almost said eyeliner. That's mascara. Mascara, and then the biggest, fluffiest lashes that I have. I could have gone with like 3 pairs of lashes and that would have been more accurate, but I only had 1 pair that I could physically get to stick on my eyes. Then for my lips, I just went in with a kind of raspberry pink shade and drew them really big, doing that nice big overline, and then in with Tea and Cookies from NYX as my kind of Barbie pink lip color. I think Trixie really only wears pink lipstick. So this is how the makeup ended up turning out once I finished my lips and everything was blended. Like I said, the hair just came straight out of the package like this, and honestly, it's so perfect for doing like a baby drag Trixie Mattel. And the costume, I just typed in like 60s dress and this one came up and I thought it was so cute. And then I put in these big white earrings. I do wish the dress was cinched just a little bit more, but overall I thought it was super cute, and I hope you guys enjoyed this look, and I will see you tomorrow.